The Lost Bus. Todd, where was this on your list?
This is my number 8 anticipated of the fall.
Number 8. So tell us all about The Lost Bus.
Okay, it's the new movie directed by Paul Greengrass, and it's the true story of the horrible wildfire in 2018 Northern California. Matthew McConaughey is a star playing Kevin, who's a school bus driver who is in like a little hot water with his job. He's also dealing with things at home, with particularly his kid's sick, and he's having kind of a rough day. And then the fires break out, and he's the only one in the area available to pick up this class of 22 children stranded in the evacuation zone, along with their teacher, Mary, played by America Ferrera. And then he kind of goes through hell the rest of the day trying to find his way through the fires, through narrow roads, mountains, looters, standstill traffic, like everything you can imagine when entire counties are being burned down and you have to drive a freaking bus. I really like this movie. Paul Greengrass, I think, is the best action director in the world. Like, I mean, the way he puts you in the shoes of the characters is remarkable, and the fires are pretty terrifying. It's basically a nonstop thriller survival movie that is focused and tense. I mean, I'm sure a lot of the fires and stuff are CGI, but I couldn't really tell. I think the movie looks amazing, and like it probably should be on the short list for visual effects, because like the actual fire sequences are really something to watch. This is like if Greengrass had made World Trade Center instead of United 93. Like, it's an inspirational true story about surviving just an unwinnable situation through determination and unorthodox techniques, but done with the skill from the master who brought us like the Bourne Ultimatum and Captain Phillips. He's still at the top of his game. News of the World was great. 22 July was great. He never gets talked about as being like a great genre director, but he's kind of a genius. McConaughey is really good as the lead. I kept thinking it would have been like a really good Ben Affleck role, but there's some things that McConaughey does. His like likability is something that most actors don't have. Even when he's being a jerk, you still are kind of rooting for him. America Ferrera as an elementary school teacher, I mean, that's like the perfect casting ever. Like, it's the highest war of the year, because I mean, I every part of that character I believed. I mean, and she becomes a lot more crucial the more you go into the movie, and more than you think that she is. Yuli Vasquez is the other like recognizable face, kind of. He plays the fire department chief, and he's okay. It tries to take time away from the bus and to show scenes with the fire department, and seeing him like look at maps and shit is like okay. But I would have mostly cut that character out. But the actual firefighting scenes are pretty awesome. Like, especially there's one early on where there's a sequence where one of the firefighters is on the phone, like trying to relay the severity of the fire, like while saving a family by having them jump into a river. It was insane to watch. That was absolutely a great scene. And I just think it's an old fashioned banger true story. Like, I mean, if Apple can put together a decent campaign, I could see this making some waves, because this is totally like a dad movie. And I mean, and if you want it to be a political thing, there's like one throwaway line that the one guy has to make. And if you want it to be like not just an action movie, then you have that too, I guess. But I mean, even if it is, it's a great one. Like, it's one of the best films of the year. It's at 3.5 stars.
All right. Let's go. Adam, you were the next one that watched it, so I'll go to you next.
Yeah, so this is I watched it a few weeks ago as well, and this Greengrass has a great way of filming exhilarating action sequences. Like, with echoing what Todd said, the scenes when they're in the bus going through these hot zones of the flash, the fire and stuff like that, it's fantastic. I can't really picture fire looking this great in a movie in a very long time. I think there's great moments with that incorporate fire in movies, but when you're on the bus, there's some really good sequences. With McConaughey is good, American Ferrera is good as well. This is just a really solid movie. To a point where it made me. I can't remember what we reviewed recently, but when you have a true story like this and you want to go back and research what actually happened, Roofman, that's the movie. While Roofman was super entertaining and they got a lot of that stuff right, this is where this film takes it takes a little step back compared to that film. I really am really high on The Lost Bus. I think if you're watching it as a standalone thing without researching stuff, I think it's a top notch. Exactly what echoing everything that Todd had said. And I was really at 3.5 stars. However, for me, a lot of that stuff where it's Hollywoodized made me change it to like a really high three stars. So I'm still really high on it. I think this is a fantastic watch. Why wasn't this in theaters? Like, why wasn't this a wide release like they did Killers of the Flower Moon? Like, this would have been fantastic, and I don't think I would have like necessarily gone back on my review if I would have watched this on like a big screen, because I feel like those sequences there were some like the scene that Todd mentioned with the guy taking this like a bunch of group of people have to go into the water and they basically died in the water there. That sequence, one of the best of the year. For sure, that would have been like just a horrifying like experience in the theater. But again, a super solid movie. Greengrass deserves a lot of good praise for what he does on behind the camera there. So, really solid recommendation. 3 stars.
Yeah, I'll go next on this. I'm giving it 3.5. I'm kind of right with Todd on this. It's funny that you said it's like if Greengrass had directed World Trade Center, because my thought is this is like, it's you take United 93 and you add in the human interest stuff of World Trade Center, and that's what you get. And I think it might have been better if you take out some of the just like moments where you have your characters, like especially McConaughey and America Ferrera, as they're just like talking about their kids and stuff. I'm like, yeah, we don't need those scenes. Just tell the story. But I get why they're there too. I mean, you're having a story about these people. Let's get to know them a little bit. But Greengrass is a master at this kind of stuff, and he shows it again here. I was just looking, McConaughey hasn't really done much recently. Like, I was looking at his filmography. Apparently, he played one of the Deadpools in Deadpool and Wolverine. Okay. But other than that, the last time we've seen him in a movie, like he was in Sing 2. He had his voice in Sing 2. Last time we saw him in a movie was The Gentleman back in 2019. The last time we saw
like 3 movies this year, so
yeah, and that's one of the things is The Rivals of Mziah King, it says, is here, and that's finished, and some people have seen it at some film festivals. But yeah, he hasn't done much recently, which I find fascinating. You mentioned Yul Vasquez as the fire chief. Every time I saw him, I kept on thinking I had to look up who it was. I kept on thinking it was Tony Dennison, who plays Aldo Burrows in Prison Break. But to me, really, the way I found him was he played the head coach in Playmakers. That's who I thought Yul Vasquez was. And then he kept on saying something like, no, that's not him. That isn't. It's a really cool movie. Greengrass does this stuff better than anybody. And 3.5 stars. Really, really awesome. Zach, are we quad approved on The Lost Bus?
No, we're not. I have to go thumbs down. It's a close call. I admire a lot of the things you guys say about the movie, but really, Adam and Terry, you kind of hit it on the head. There is just too much sappiness in this movie. We do not need the side story of Matthew McConaughey and his son and his fever. We do not need the backstory of America Ferrera. There is an important and relevant story here about the Paradise Fire. You know, you read the credits at the end. I mean, this was one of the biggest natural catastrophes in American history. People lost their lives. They lost their houses. PG&E had to pay $12 billion. Now, that's the movie. That should be the movie. I don't know why we're getting this bullshit with Matthew McConaughey and his sick kid and grandma. And it's like Paul Greengrass usually does a really good job of avoiding that shit. You know, you watch the opening 20 minutes of United 93. I mean, it is just so laser focused on the process and like the everyday sort of, banal shit that people do. And there's some of that in this movie, mostly with the firefighters. And I think I would have been maybe more interested in a movie about the firefighters. I can't get behind when Matthew McConaughey is giving a speech about I've spent my life trying to escape paradise and now I'm trying to make a go of it here. I mean, come on. When do they have time in the middle of this huge fire to just sit around on the bus when kids are literally asphyxiating in the back of the bus to ruminate on places that America Ferrera wants to go someday? I just think 2006 Paul Greengrass would have watched this and been like, let's cut this shit out. This movie's too long at 2 hours and 5 minutes. There is an element of the movie I think that Todd is alluding to about the political aspect of it. The PG&E was behind it, but I wish the movie could have really gone into that more. I'm not exactly sure why there was conflict and why PG&E was responsible in the way that they were. I think there's an interesting story there. I know that's not this movie, and I know that this movie wants to have a lot of heart in it. In fact, I will say that I was probably 3 stars for most of this movie because it is a compelling watch for a lot of it. And of course, I like movies with buses. And I have to say, America Ferrera does look a little bit like Sandra Bullock in this movie. And there's a couple scenes where she says, everybody on bus, oh my God. Now, the kids in the school in Speed almost got hit by the bus. And it does make me wonder, why didn't Jan de Bont have a scene in Speed that involved fire? I mean, listen, you got the ringer thrown at Keanu Reeves in that movie. I do think it's kind of cool when the bus rams through the fire, but I gotta also disagree with Todd. I didn't think the special effects were that great. It was like overwhelming CGI to me. But I agree with Adam that I think if I had seen this in a theater, I don't know why this wasn't a theatrical movie, I might have been a little more generous to it. It's really just the sappy shit that I didn't like. But there is enough in this movie, I think, to sustain interest in it. I also have to say I was reminded of the Angelina Jolie fire movie from a few years ago, which involved a kidnapping, an adulterous affair, I believe, and a switchblade. And I'm sorry, I liked that shit a little bit more just because of how ridiculous it was. And I can't take McConaughey seriously sometimes. I really can't. I do like the dispatch operator. She was my favorite character. She should have been played by the MDB. Maybe she gets a Pinot shout out somewhere. She was cool. I liked her, but this movie just falls a little bit short for me.
Yeah,
the movie you're referencing is Those Who Wish Me Dead. I was thinking of that one too.
Yeah,
and how this one is vastly superior to it.
Yeah, it's like an actual movie.
Yeah.
Those Who Wish Me Dead, it was definitely like a 90s.
Well, it's a different. Obviously, it's going for different things, right? That was not based on a true story. That was not about actual lives and things lost. But that movie was kind of fun, and I'm not saying this movie tried to be fun, but it got bogged down by the sappiness and the unnecessary exposition and the backstory. I mean, it's just.
I didn't think it was sappy. Like I think that they were trying to build these characters so you actually are able to feel something, because it is like an inspirational story. It's not it's not like something that is 100% meant to just like be a history lesson, or like something like United 93, which is like a documentation. Like this is a thriller movie, but it's also one that is character based. And I think if you don't care about Kevin, then you're not going to really care about the movie.
I'm sure Paul Greengrass said that. I'm sure all the writers think that too. And I think this movie has great reviews. I'm sure most people agree with that. I just found it kind of sappy. I also had the same problem with this movie that I had with Last Breath, which is that how long did this rescue operation take place? Like, it feels like the movie lasts longer than the actual journey of the bus. I know that they sat there for a couple hours, I assume, while they waited the fire out at one point, but it just kind of feels like, I don't know. It's an important journey. My bottom line is I think this would have been a cool documentary short. I'm not sure if it's total feature length merits for me. Certainly not with Matthew McConaughey.
That scene's completely fake. They didn't ever sit in a thing of fire.
Yeah, I didn't even bother to do the research on it because to me it just.
There was a third teacher on the bus too. There was a second teacher on the bus, and there wasn't a scene where they sat there with a fire and just like, well, it might get us, and they burst through the fires. No, they were sitting in traffic most of the time. That's essentially, if you do that's one reason why I was like, it took it a step down, because it's like it's completely a different thing. Granted, you have to use, and then like the son was never in danger; they were already in the safety zone with the grandma.
And of course, McConaughey's a derelict employee. Of course. Oh, she's getting on his case. Get the bus to the mechanic. What are you doing, Kevin? Is he trustworthy? I mean, come on. We just don't need that. I feel like that's patronizing to the audience. I think we're smarter than that. But I don't know. People do like sentimental stories. They like heroic stories. I like the Matthew McConaughey stunt double in this movie. He did a lot of the stunts, it looked like. there's some elements to it, but it's just, to me, this is like a 1980s or 90s TV movie.
It's a movie. Like they're gonna change up some of the facts a little bit.
Looters
There's
never
no
happy
problem
time.
with that.
Sorry.
And then what was the other thing?
You were there, Adam. You would know.
I read exactly what the actual person who was the bus driver, what he said. The looters.
I'm sure there were looters in the fires. Like that.
They were never
That's a totally
at
realistic
point at a time on the bus. I don't know.
I've lost what I was gonna say again. Dang it. Oh, Last Breath was shot in real time. So I mean, there's that. And Those Who Wish Me Dead, I kept on trying to think of that title and kept on going with Things We Lost in the Fire. But
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah,
that would have been a better title.
There ironically was no fire in Things We Lost in the Fire. The fire had already happened.
That's a good point.
Well, there's definitely a lost bus in this movie. I don't know if it's actually lost, but it is a bus, and
it was lost.
Well,
almost fire.
He was kind of, you know what? His directional skills were kind of shitty in the movie, if we're being honest. I mean, he was relying on how he remembered the roads in this movie. I also think Kevin's kind of an asshole. I couldn't really get behind him. I think the opening 30 minutes, which kind of take forever, like, dude, get the hell back to the mechanic. I'm sorry, but take care. The grandma can take care of the kid, right?
But I think that adds to his character, though. The fact that he's not necessarily the best employee, but he is the right employee at the right time. I don't know.
Yeah, but okay. We're not going to agree on it. But I will say, I think if I had seen it in a theater, I might be more forgiving. Because I do think as a spectacle, it has some cool shit in it.
Fair enough. All right. So 3.5 stars from me and Todd, 3 stars from Adam. Zach, you said 2.5?
2.5.
2.5 stars from Zach. It's on Apple TV Plus if you want to check that one out.